Could we have a roll call, please?
Vaughn.
Yes.
Hurd.
Yes.
Hayward.
Here.
Hale.
Yes.
Shire.
Here.
O'Loughlin.
Yes.
Hannah.
Yes.
Thank you. I would need to have a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Scharf,
Second.
second by O'Loughlin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Don't believe we have anybody for public comment. Next, I need a motion to accept and approve the consent agenda that approves the following: the minutes of the February 25th, 2019 regular meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Kurtz, second by Scharf. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. We're down to claims, and I think Gina handed out the fact that we're taking off one of the claims that was for $9.70 before we approve the bills for payment.
Do we have to amend it? Take it off?
Approve as amended.
Okay. Make motion to approve as amended.
Okay, motion by Hill,
Second.
second by Kurtz. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Next is petitions from the public, and we have Mr. Evers from ICAP. If you don't have a check for us, you can just leave. If all it is a bill.
John will accept an IOU from you, however.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. By now, you've gotten the renewal packet. Katie has made a few modifications on different coverages in different areas. So there should be about one more revision coming. But what you've gotten so far is going to be very, very accurate. The final revision will come, I'm guessing, probably yet this week. I'll forward that to Al and Gina. By and large, it's your renewal is going to be a little bit different than last year. You said I didn't bring money, but I kind of did. Your voucher this year off.
Kind of money?
What's that?
What kind of money?
Well, it's kind of paper money.
Play money.
But your voucher this year is $8,220.16, and that comes off your total renewal. So when you look at your bill, you deduct that amount in, send in that voucher, and then that's your balance on that.
Well, then you're definitely welcome for that.
I done a breakdown on the coverages at the front page. It tells you what each line item is. Your liability went up a little bit, but so did your exposure. Your exposure was like $9 million last year, and this year it's $17 million. I'm guessing that's probably for the Main Street project. I would say that had a lion's share of that. Your auto liability went down $500. Law enforcement stayed the same. Public officials went down $774. Your excess liability went down $27. Your vehicles went up. You made some purchases last year, so that went up $961. And then your property values, there's some quite a bit of adjustments on property values this year over last. So your increased coverage is over $1 million. Different buildings had needed some adjustment based on improvements, and so you've seen a $3,700 increase there. So by and large, it's roughly around $4,000 different than last year. But when you add over $1 million of property coverage and you buy new vehicles, you're going to have some of that. And with your exposure on your liability end, that's going to be there also. We'll fine tune the final revision of each location. That's really what the revisions is. The dollars and cents is going to be almost identical to what you're looking at. It's just putting the right items in the right category, in the right location. So, and Katie is excellent at looking at that and dissecting that. You picked a good person to delegate that to. She might disagree with that, but I don't. So is there any questions on that end of it?
Is the other coverage we're looking at, that's not included in this?
That's my next thing.
I didn't see it.
Yeah. Your bond quotes came in, and that's the question I'm sure you got. And so the breakdown on them, you will see the mayor, Bob, Mayor Pro Tem, Susie, and then Al. The $200,000 per limit on each one of those individuals breaks down to Mayor $700 a year, Mayor Pro Tem is $700 a year. Susie, she reconciles the books. Hers was around her $1,000 a year. And then Al's is $700 a year. So there was only two numbers. It was either 1,000 or 700. And for there's not a whole lot of carriers that do bonds. Okay? Travelers wouldn't write this one because the position had already been in that position for over a month. So they don't go back and pick up. Old Republic is the one that is offering the coverage for this. You know, once you get past these two carriers, they're the bond experts. That's about the end of the line for bonds. You know, Gina sent hers in, so we got hers today. The rate didn't come back for her, but it's going to be one of the two. I'm guessing because she does handle the books and the money and writes checks, she's probably going to be on that $1,000 figure on that. So just so you kind of know, that's where that's at, what you're looking at. The question come up and has come up, you know, who should pay for it? Councilman Vaughn had a question, or he thinks that, you know, should the city be paying for that? I guess the bottom line is on that, or at least my feeling is, if you're an employee, then the employer should cover it. If you're a self-employed contractor, then you cover your own bond.
I think our city ordinance actually states in it the city pays for it.
Actually, state code would require the city to pay for it, so, and the city code follows that. So.
Yeah. I mean, so that's where it's at. You know, you folks can decide what you want to do on that. If you want to make it coincide with your renewal of 4/1, now's the perfect time to be making a decision. So if you don't make a decision tonight, you got another 2 weeks when you guys, folks, can decide on what.
Amy didn't have to be covered for work?
Hers went in with Gina's today.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm guessing she's going to fall under the $700 figure.
so it's going to be about 4,800?
Right, for everybody.
Okay. And there wasn't anybody else
No.
that I think that we needed? Okay.
How come the mayor pro temp is $700?
He must,
He's only the mayor when the mayor's not here.
right,
She
right.
seems to show up quite regular. So.
I try.
You know, and maybe it's such too, Danny, that you don't need it on the mayor pro tem.
I think it says in the code we do.
Calls for it.
That's only
We've
reason.
been getting along without it, Bob, real well.
Yeah, could, but
We've been getting
When
out.
you're the mayor, that night you're the mayor, just be extra careful.
And I'll try to be absent more so that you can take turns.
Get your money's worth, right?
Yeah.
Further questions on that?
Okay.
Third item that I brought today is ICAP is offering a grant. And they're offering a grant for your police department. And what it's designed to do is to help keep the police procedures, policies in order to kind of keep them out of trouble. So, I mean, we never know what's going to be said, when it's going to be said. There's two carriers that ICAP works with on this. One is, they call it the team, and that's a group of attorneys. And so I called them, and I called each one of them. And Kevin Teachau, T-E-C-H-A-U, he's the team. I talked to him last week. And what they do, they're an Iowa-based firm. They will review with the department, review the policy, and make suggestions. They don't tell you what you have to do. You can exercise these ideas if you want. They have a June and July startup date. And so I says, okay, how much is this gonna cost? And it is all based on the number of officers. So in these examples, the team with the amount of officers that Independence has would be in the vicinity of $3,700 for all this. There's videos, there's on-site interviews. The officers can watch the, it's a web-based training program. And the under 10 grant for this would be right around $2,250. So roughly, you're looking at $500 to $700 a year to have this sort of training. That's with the team, okay? The other one is Lexingpool, and they're out of California. So I talked to Karen James today, and they roughly do the same thing. Only difference is they're not right here within the state. The under 10 charge for them was anywhere from $5,500 to $6,500. The grant's the same with ICAP. It's just a matter of which one you want to go to. I mean, I guess if I was to lean towards one or the other, if you want to pursue with this, I would probably go with the Iowa-based program. One reason, it's less money. They're both going to do the same thing. There's Lexingpool has a demo, a 30-minute demo, and then that demo, you set the whole group up, all your officers at once, and it's 30 minutes, and then there's 3 dates that they're going to offer that, coming up fairly quick. She sent me something else later on today, too, that I'll forward to Chief Dellenbaugh, so he can kind of review that and kind of go from there. Maybe him and Al might want to look at it together. I think you probably got this information, some of it, earlier, but, you know, this would be a council's decision along with the chief to decide if this is what you wanted to pursue.
Is this training anything different than what they're already doing?
I think so, Bonnie. It's designed to just review their policies, for example. Okay, what do you have in force? Okay, they'll help with any laws, whether it be state or federal, to kind of make sure the policy is in line with the laws, and they'll make suggestions accordingly. The whole thing is designed to keep the police department on a kind of a even keel. So we don't have one officer saying one thing, another officer saying another. Everybody's on the same page. That's what it's designed to do.
Have very many communities in Iowa taken part? I mean, do you have an idea of any having done this?
Yeah, Lexingpool says they've had 3,500 communities. This is not just in Iowa.
Oh.
This is nationwide. Lexingpool does 2 different things, but I'm not going to go into the second thing because we don't have a jail. If we had a jail, then that'd be a different thing. So, I mean, when I go to the safety meeting for the county Wednesday, I'll bring that up to those folks. But if they belong to the Iowa Police Association, Lexingpool offers a 5% discount, but they're already a couple $1,000s more than what the team is to get the same thing. So this is just for information tonight.
Is there a certain time it has to be applied for and done if we decide to do this? Did you say June or July or something?
Well, that's when some of the training is. ICAP, with the letter they sent, the board approved an early adapter bonus for members of the agency that sign up for the program prior to May of this year. So you got a month. The bonus will be applicable to the first year of the program per details in the following pages. So that's when I went back here and said your early bonus, if you decide to do that, is $2,250.
Okay.
Okay, and then that would come off the roughly $3,700, and then after that, it's $1,500 for the next 2 years following. It's a 3-year commitment, is what it is.
Okay.
You're kind of buying into this thing for 3 years.
But the premium is $3,700 every year, those 3 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we only get the one 2250 grant?
Yeah, it's called an early bird for the first time.
And then the next 2 years is 1,500.
Right, right.
The next 2 years, John, excuse me, I'm sure that policy could change or whatever, but they actually go back and then go through the same material, or because they have different officers maybe coming in, or I guess what I'm just, they obviously want to do 3 years of the same thing.
No, they would adjust every year based on, there'd be a federal law change, legislation law changes, they'll keep up with that for you. And then it can kind of be an ongoing thing. They'd have a website where the police officer and chief could go to, they'd have access to that all the time. So it wouldn't be like a 3 years and done, but it'd be a three-year ongoing, where you'd be training on it each year by the organization.
Bonnie? I've actually looked into this already. The group that's in Iowa, they don't look at every single policy, it's just the major ones like use of force or other pursuit, ones that really would cause a lot of problems or a lot of lawsuits and stuff with the city. The training that they're talking about online is called Police Legal Science. It's every month. An officer can watch a video and go through it and then answer questions and so forth. I did it when I was in Carroll for the 2 years I was there. It's a great type of training, but it costs money to do so. We called them and asked them, the only concern that I would have, it is for 3 years. You have to budget for the other 2 years at $1,500, but they give us suggestions and help with policies. The only concern that I haven't been able to answer yet, which I was gonna talk to Steve tonight, is if they do and they help create or change a policy that I have, will the city attorney back it up if we ever have an issue or a lawsuit that the city has to protect? So I have to speak with him to make sure that whatever the change is, whatever would still be capable with our city attorney before we decide to do it, so.
And we have to submit an application before May 1st to get that early bird disc, okay. Okay, very good, thank you.
That's all I got.
That's good.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Thanks a lot, John.
Sounds good.
Always glad to see you.
Have a good rest of the evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on,
Al, as far as the bonding, don't we need to probably have that on the agenda to make any decisions?
Yes, we just received these quotes, within the last 24 hours, so
So we can't do anything tonight.
we can't do anything tonight.
That's what I thought.
And we'll have it on the agenda for your action at the next meeting.
okay. Next on the agenda is green space usage request.
We did receive a request for use of the green space in front of the Lee Mansion because they want exclusive use of that for a couple of hours on a Saturday afternoon for a wedding that would have to be approved by the council. This information has been sent to both the library and the Historical Society, so they're aware of it. And they also want to use or have access to that east parking lot in that same time frame. Obviously, for guest parking, we'd like to recommend that they also have exclusive right of that east parking lot because we want them there and not in the library's parking lot.
Is that city property or does Lee Mansion,
That's city property.
so why do we do that for this and we don't do it for any other park? If you wanted to go down and have a wedding in a park, you don't ask anybody, you just do it.
The only reason that this is coming to you is because they want exclusive use of that park during that time frame. If they want to share the park with anybody else, that's fine. It's if we are trying to reserve it so that it is not open for other folks.
So we do that for our park if we wanted it reserved?
If they wanted to reserve it exclusively for their use for that time frame, it would fall under the same guidelines as this. So, I mean, it's just a matter of being able to give them, a comfort level that we aren't going to have other people trying to play Frisbee golf in there during their wedding.
I'd make a motion, we approve it.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Kurt, second by Hill to approve this request. Is this based on responses from the library and the
That's my
historical, or?
Yeah, I don't know that I've had any response from either one of them, one way or the other.
I contacted them, the only issue they had been changed because they had first wanted to block that road. But
Yeah.
that's been changed.
Right.
So when I talked to the library staff, they had no issues.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this request. Any other discussion?
Are we opening a can of worms that we don't want to open?
We've done that before up there, haven't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've done it for Art Under the Oaks, for example. We've given them the exclusive rights to it that day. Now, they're inviting other people in, obviously, but, you know, they want to secure that area for a date certain. And,
for another wedding last year in the fall, too.
yeah, I believe so. And again, we're not charging them a lot of money or anything. It's just a matter of if we're going to close a park to the general public, it really should.
Is there a charge for it? No.
And I think the park is for a 2-hour time frame specific. We've stretched that just a little bit to give them some latitude for setup and what have you. But again, it's not for an extended period of time.
Right in the middle of road construction.
Well, Mr. Kimball promised, oh wait, he's here. Never mind. That is a concern, obviously, because that street will be tore up during the course of the summer, and I am not able to guarantee what it's going to be on that specific weekend. I'm not sure anybody can with weather. I mean, we can make it available to the best of our ability, but the road construction obviously is kind of a variable that is out of our hands.
Isn't that one of the first sections, though, that gets done from the bridge to the middle of the library
That was mine.
driveway?
It is. What date are they looking at?
September 21st.
If that,
Realistically, that section should be completed by then.
if that's not done phase one, we're in big trouble.
They're gonna be way behind.
Except the snow's.
More than just the wedding
Yeah.
had at it.
I sleep better now. Thanks.
If there's no other discussion, we'll have a roll call, please.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Okay.
yes. Hill,
Yes.
Sharp,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Next on the agenda is a motion to receive, or for public hearing for First Street East. I need a motion to receive and file proof of publication of notice of public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Scharf,
Second.
second by Hayward. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Next, I need a motion to hold the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Scharf, second by O'Loughlin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. We are now in public hearing for First Street East construction. Is there anybody in the audience that wanted to speak on this issue? Okay.
Will we be having more meetings besides the one we had at the library earlier?
Yes.
Okay.
At this point, the goal right now is to get through this process, get the contractor on board, and then have some pre-construction meetings with the contractor and the engineer, and make sure people can ask their questions. I know that there's concerns. The closer we get to it, of course, the more concern that people will have. But we want to make sure we have the contractor there to hear those concerns and to be able to address them.
I've had a couple people ask about how long the water might be down if their line is being repaired. A couple people in the hair care business that need a water supply on a pretty regular basis. We have any, I mean, is it gonna be down 2 hours, 2 days?
Generally, if they have, I mean, because they're looking at putting in the new service lines.
Well, they don't know. I mean,
Right,
that's,
and I'm not sure, I can tell you exactly. I wouldn't guess that they'll be down for more than a few hours. I don't see them being down for days. That's something we can talk with the contractor about as they detail it. I don't know if you had,
Yeah, I mean, typically it's a few hours. That's, the way they plan it out. They don't want people to go without water for the evening. They don't want them to have a whole night without water. So.
right.
You'll actually know more once we start tearing up the street itself and have exposed lines,
Yeah, and
so
there'll
we'll
be a
know what they're
notice that
dealing with.
goes out to all the property owners when, the contractor will have to notify those property owners when they're gonna be out, and they'll give them an hour range. It'll be out from this time to this time.
Okay.
Sometime within that timeframe, it's
And-
not just gonna turn the water.
And they're just trying to proactively, get a ballpark idea of time so they can kind of make some other arrangements
Yeah,
to,
once we get into the pre-construction, currently, we're waiting for the contractor has 30 days to sign the contract, and we're still waiting for that, as far as I know, and that, they still got a couple weeks before they sign that, and then once that's signed, we can actually communicate with the contractor. Right now, I can't communicate with the contractor, so we can't have any of our pre-construction conferences or anything like that, to get everything, get a timeline laid out. The late start date is April 1st, so they are supposed to be starting construction, first part of April. Weather, could play an issue in that, but for them to start, I think they should be able to still get in there and get started on some removals and things like that.
I think what you'll find is once we get the contractor on board and we're able to have those conversations, with Chick-fil-A doing the work, they've been pretty good about meeting with the public and understanding what the issues are, coordinating with them, and if they hear from, whether it be the salons or the restaurants, they're going to do everything they can to work around their schedules. And again, traditionally, they've been very good about doing, working with them to the best of their ability. Now, obviously, if they're replacing a water main, the water will be down for, some period of time someplace.
just came up the last haircut.
Did you get anything, the city? Nothing? Okay. Any other discussion? Then I would ask for a motion to close the hearing and receive and file oral and written comments.
So moved.
Motion by Scharf,
Second.
second by Hayward. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Next on the agenda is motion to approve a resolution awarding contract for the First Street East project at Chick-fil-A.
So move.
Motion by Hayward, second by Kurtz. Any other discussion? Then I need a roll call.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Scharf,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz.
Yes.
Thank you, motion is carried. Next on the agenda is the public hearing for Malone Creek Bridge, and I need a motion to receive and file proof of publication of notice of public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Scharf,
Second.
second by O'Loughlin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. Next, I would need a motion to hold the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Scharf,
Second.
seconded by Hayward. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. We are now in public hearing in regards to the Malone Creek Bridge project. Did you receive anything at all at City Hall?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Any discussion?
One of my concerns is the late start date. There was talk of a start date that was beyond July or near or beyond July.
The late start date is June,
I think it's June 1st.
it was later than that, it was 13th,
Oh,
17th.
June
Yeah.
17th.
But that is a late start date, and again, we're not allowed to discuss anything with the contractor until after we have signed contracts and what have you, as far as moving that forward. I did talk to DOT about our concerns with matching it up with the First Street project. DOT, I'm not sure where that got dropped, but they did understand that we had a concern about matching those projects up, date-wise. Why those dates don't coincide, I don't know, and the lady I talked to, Donna Ames, wasn't aware of that, but again, that is the late start date.
Have we ever done work with Taylor Construction, who got that bid?
I have not.
Here in town? Okay.
Can we petition the DOT to amend the start date?
Well, I think at this point, what it's going to be is discussing that with the contractor, once we have the contracts. They put that into the contract, that's what's been
Bid.
awarded at, bid and awarded at Ames, so at this point, it's working with the contractor, once we have the contracts in hand. But we're not allowed to have those conversations again until after that is in hand.
According to this, it looks like there's 90 days to be done with the bridge.
90 working days, and I want to be careful there because it's not 90 calendar days.
Okay.
You could be into the, I haven't
That's
calculated.
18 weeks. 5 times 18 is 90.
Yeah, I think you're closer to 4 months on calendar days, but, and visiting with Mr. Shimkus, who is here, it is a fairly straightforward project, and the type of bridge that we're putting in is, it goes quicker than the original bridge that was discussed. You've got more clear span. You don't have the pillars in the middle of the creek, they're on the abutments. So I think that we have a chance to move along quicker, but it is 90 working days.
And they can actually be working on that even while First Street itself is being worked on, because it's a separate project, separate people, okay. Any other discussion?
But I've heard that before on a number of bridges within the county, and it's not very reassuring to hear that.
To hear what?
That that the start date is that late and that they have 18 weeks, basically, because I've seen some disappointing things in the last 5 years with
Well,
some of
yeah, I'm not going to defend a contractor I've not worked with.
Right.
What I can give you is the facts that we have in front of us, and that's the contract that's under consideration per
So-
DOT.
So what was the earliest date for start? June 17th is the late start date. What's the earliest?
The day
start?
after they sign the contracts.
Oh, okay. Okay. Any other discussion? If not, I would ask for a motion to close the hearing and receive and file oral and written comments.
So moved.
Motion by Scharf,
Second?
second by Kurtz. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. We are now down to a motion to approve a resolution awarding contract for the Malone Creek Bridge project to Taylor Construction.
So moved.
John, I'll second.
Okay, Kurtz says first. Is that who I heard? Okay, motion by Kurtz, second by Hill. Any other discussion? If not, I want a roll call, please.
Hill,
Yes.
Scharf,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Next on the agenda is resolutions, and my first one is a motion to approve the resolution setting the fiscal year 2020 budget, CIP, and transfers.
So moved.
Motion by Hill, seconded by
Second.
Hayward. A roll call, please.
Scharf,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Next is a sale of property on Fifth Street Southeast.
This one.
Oh,
Yeah,
and missed the
Or did I?
resolution.
Oh,
resolution
okay,
passes.
excuse me, sorry about that. Resolution to assess property owners for Chapter 136.03 snow removal.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe they only did 2 of them. When you drive around, you see some sidewalks haven't been touched all year.
these are the only ones that we can assess at this time. Either they were returned back, we sent them to the place where their taxes go and it's been returned non-deliverable, or they've had their 30 days and haven't paid. So these are the only ones we can assess. The rest get billed first, so we have.
But we're not going
done-
to bill anybody if we didn't do the walk.
I think there was, what we heard this morning, 19 sidewalks that we did around the city.
So that's ones that's gonna get billed, but the ones that didn't get done don't get billed.
If we didn't do them, we don't bill them, that's correct.
I'd make a motion on these two.
Okay, motion by Hayward,
Second.
second by Kurtz. Roll call, please.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Scharf.
Yes.
Thank you, motion is carried. Next on my agenda is the sale of property on Fifth Street Southeast.
Did we contact the other person interested?
We did, I had a conversation with Mr. Hack, explained to him that we did have a full price offer and encouraged him to make another offer, and he said, "I'm glad you got your money." I did explain to him that we were hoping that he would come back with a $25,000 or $30,000 offer, but he declined.
Didn't do it.
Probably can't repeat
Did you even ever
words,
hear
can
from him again?
No, he was very cordial and he understood, but he is not interested in going that high, so.
I'd make a motion, we approve the sale.
May I ask you to approve the resolution?
Authorizing.
Motion to approve a resolution authorizing conveyance of property locally known as 301 Fifth Street Southeast.
Got that?
your motion?
It's on the thing.
I'll second it.
Motion by Hill, second by O'Loughlin. Roll call, please.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Scharf,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah.
Yes.
Thank you, motion is carried. Next on the agenda is discussion on waste management.
I asked to have this put on there. I have had several phone calls and people stopping me and wanting to know what the deal is, and I don't think my garbage has been picked up on its scheduled day for 4, 5, 6 weeks. And I guess I just, first of all, I'd like to make everybody aware that this is not a city issue, this is a waste management issue. And any complaints that people have, they should call Waste Management and not City Hall. I do not know the waste management number, but I bet somebody here does. And
About Mike.
I don't know, you know, if you read the contract, they're supposed to pick it up on their designated day unless their designated day is one of the designated holidays, and they're not living up to their end of the bargain.
They aren't. I've had a lot of calls and contacts since I've been home.
I just want to make it publicly known so that maybe they up their game a little bit. We've had cold, snowy, icy weather every winter since Waste Management's been in town. And other than that 150-degree below wind chill day, we would have had it picked up regularly in past years. So
I think the day you're talking about, I did talk to Todd, and they pulled the trucks off.
Yep.
The day that you're talking about.
I'll give you that day.
Yeah, okay.
But last week, there was no reason they couldn't have been out picking up garbage,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned.
The number that I have for it, local number, is 319-332-6009. And that will reach the station to a living person.
I did visit with Jay Nissen up in Minnesota with Waste Management. He would be the next one going up the hierarchy, chain of command as far as, you know, who's responsible. And he asked me to convey to you his apologies. He said this will not happen again. The issue last week in particular was an equipment failure, and he and I agreed that that was not acceptable. the cold weather, if there's dangerous weather out there, we agree that we don't want to put anybody in harm's way.
Absolutely.
That isn't worthwhile, and I assured him that we didn't want anybody out when it was dangerous, and we understood. But he did assure me that this would not happen again, and they're taking some necessary steps to ensure that with the equipment piece. And I don't know what that means, is, as far as the equipment, if they had a flat tire or computers that don't work. I mean, I don't understand it. I didn't think it was that bitterly cold, but something was causing their equipment failures. So they're working on that, and I think it was the interpretation of how to resolve that maybe internally that created some issues for him, and he's dealing with that.
I happen to have a friend of mine that's one of the mechanics up there, and I know he was working 12 and 16-hour days. They're blowing hydraulic lines like crazy because of the cold weather, and it's really hard on that equipment. And I know they're doing everything they can to try and keep them on the road, but when they break down, they break down. But
And it would be nice if they would publicly let people know, that they're gonna be a day late instead of guessing, you put it out, and if it happens to snow, the snowplow comes by and tips it over, and there's just all kinds of things, where if you knew that it was gonna be a day late, you could wait a day to put it out. But I don't know, that it has been a bit of a disaster the last 4, 5, 6 weeks.
And Mr. Nissen would be happy to come and visit with you if you wanted him to come and chat with the council at some future date. He wasn't able to be here tonight, but he would be happy to come and visit.
Mike, they are on Facebook. I don't even know how you get a hold of Facebook, but I'm telling you, they are on there. They told me that. And if they schedule, if they're not gonna make it today and it's gonna be tomorrow, that information will be on Facebook.
well, I think they must have notified Indytel, because Indytel had notices that went out, email notices and on
I
their
can see where they
Facebook
made a
also.
little effort,
I put mine out last night for this morning's pickup. It worked great. I hadn't for several weeks just because I'm in a location where if there's any wind, mine ends up down at the neighbor's a half a block away. So I haven't even put mine out for several weeks, but it went great today. So hopefully they've got this fixed and we won't have any more problems. But hopefully the weather also is behind us now, as far as all the bad weather we've had, so.
They also have a new route manager that is on board now, Mr. Painter. Let's see, is it Jay? Anyway, they've got a new person to replace Mr. Mendez, who has left. So that should help as well to have somebody, on the ground here taking care of it.
I think it wouldn't hurt if one of their representatives, I don't know if he'd have to make a special trip down, but if he's in this area.
Say maybe we could have this new guy come and introduce himself to the
so we can
council. and-
put a face to who's.
Yeah. We can make that request and see if he'd be available at some point, so. If nothing else, we'll move on. Next on the agenda is the digester cleaning service. Motion to award the contract for the digester cleaning service 2 in the amount of blank. You fill in the blanks, folks.
We do have 2 acceptable bids, I guess would be the way to put that. We had 3 bids, but one was not a qualifying bid for the digester cleaning. And the 2 bids that we have a very distinct difference. One has an option for geobags. If it's too wet to spread the biosolids, they can store them in a geobag until it, conditions warrant that. The other company does not have that option built in or that alternate built in. So there are some differences in there. I know Mark has some concerns, and we've been visiting with Mark Kramer, who's also here from Fox Engineering. So I'd ask Mr. Kramer for his input on that, I guess.
Okay. Well, this contract, Councilman Kramer, Fox Engineering, Kramer with a C. This contract was kind of an oddity because we're just kind of making a guess at how much solids are in these digesters. I mean, it's a fairly educated guess. What is a wild guess is how much water it'll take to liquefy the solids so you can get it pumped back out of there. So the contract's actually set up with a $50,000 contingency built into the bid amounts, with the idea that, you know, both contractors feel there's gonna be probably more than the 500,000 gallons we're saying needs to be pumped and land applied. But we wanted a way to give the contractor a means of having his mobilization admin built in, and then an additional per gallon cost within that $50,000 contingency for the extras that he might have to do. We figured it'd be less money. The one contractor actually put in a bid of 42 cents for the extra gallons, which is more than what it was gonna cost for his base number, which we found a little disconcerting. And the thing with the geo bags was to kind of give them another option, thinking that, well, A, it gives them flexibility, but B, they would be getting rid of a lot of the water, because these geo bags, the water filters out, and that filtrate is pumped back to the headworks of the plant. And then you'd have a drier material, so you're hauling less water. And that number he gave us was 115,000, I believe it was. And that would not even come into play unless the fields are too wet and we can't apply at that time. Now, we have been in conversations with both contractors, and Hodges, which is actually a little bit higher base bid amount, he's confident that he can get it in sometime this summer. If it's wet all summer long, they're not gonna be planting corn, and I don't think we've ever had a year where it got that bad.
Right.
And he thinks he can do it in about 4 or 5 days. I've been talking, of course, to Mark, and he could probably store about 1 digester's worth in the sludge storage tank if we really had to. I mean, we want to get it all out in the field this spring if possible. But like I say, Hodges wasn't really concerned, and he gave us a number of 0 for any additional gallons. So what he's saying is he can do the whole thing for like $178,000, and then we'd have a deductive change order for that 50 grand to take it back out. Where the break-even number would be is if, let's see, we had it calculated out here. If the overage is less than 44,340 gallons, that's the break-even point where both contracts would be the same. Because one, you know, had the 209 for a base number, and the other one had 228, and then subtracting out the 50 grand. So that's kind of why we gave the recommendation for Hodges. I don't know procedurally if it works or not, but I actually wrote up a notice of award for both contractors, so you have a paper you can act upon tonight if you decide you want to go the other way, you know. But our recommendation is with the Hodges Farms and dredging, and we did give him a call, and we have the warm fuzzies that he can accomplish the work.
Have you worked with both of them?
I have not worked with Hodges before, but we called several of his people that he has worked with in the past. He's out of Kansas.
I see.
And I don't think he's strayed this far east before. Nutraject has been here forever.
Yeah.
Now Hodges has done work up and down the entire middle part of the country though, is that
Oh,
correct?
yeah. They've got plenty. They have actually worked with the geo bags before. I think he just felt like it was more trouble than it's worth, and he seems to be comfortable that he can get it done. He said he has no qualms if we go past, and we gave him this is what, 8 miles, I think we said, you know, to give him some kind of a limitation on their distance they had to travel, and he said he didn't have any problem if we went further than that. And he even suggested, I mean, if there was some reason why we really did run into a spring that was just totally atrocious, he suggested maybe we could even like pay a farmer a few extra bucks an acre to plant a little later, or maybe switch to soybeans or something that could be planted in July, or June, I mean. But he didn't say necessarily that $100 an acre would come out of his pocket. But he seemed to only think it would take about 20 acres or so. It's based upon the pounds of solids and nitrogen within those solids, not so much the amount of water. He didn't seem to have any qualms about how much water he had to hold. Is this digester, this cleaning process, is this something that is done
on a regular basis, or is there a reason that it's kind of got so big here on this cost factors?
Well, it's done on a regular basis, but you have more flexibility in a normal year. Because of our miscellaneous improvements project, we need to get those digesters cleaned out so that contractor can redo all that piping and valves and the transducers on those two digesters. So that's where we're a little more pressed to get that done. I mean, yeah, granted, worst case scenario, we could even wait till fall, but then we'd be extending out that contractor's time on site.
When's the last time we cleaned digesters before this time? First time we've done it?
Eggshells, so they're not supposed to need cleaning.
Oh, okay,
They're full of cotton and plugs and things like that.
okay.
And the valves that fail at the bottom.
I just never remember seeing this kind of bill for doing this before.
Normally, you can pull a little bit out at a time, but earlier in the year, one of them got plugged because of all that cotton material and stuff.
As we move forward with the changeover with the new plant eventually, will this digester will just go away? I mean, we won't reuse this, or this won't be a component of the new design, will it?
Well, you'll need some way of stabilizing sludge, so.
Right.
You probably want to keep digesters, whether we want to keep those particular ones or not.
Right,
Can
right.
be assessed at the time. I
Sure.
mean, they're in pretty good shape. And
Yeah.
once we change that piping and valves out, they'll be in, really nice shape.
Sure, yeah.
So I'd hate to go off and scrap those.
Oh, you bet. I would make a motion then that we approve the bid for Hodges Farm and dredging.
178,000, is that what it was?
Well,
Or,
It's 228,000 is the bid. There's a $50,000 contingency
okay,
built in there, so you're going to approve the 228. If everything goes the way it could, there'll be a change order reducing that at the end. But
Okay.
right now, you're approving a $228,000 contract.
okay.
I'd second that.
Okay, motion by O'Loughlin, second by Kurtz. Is there any other discussion? Do you need a roll call on this? Okay.
Hannah,
Oh, it's hard to understand the fee on that, but I guess we have to do it, yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes,
Shar,
Yes.
O'Loughlin.
Yes.
Thank you, motion is carried. Next on the agenda is the First Responders Unit.
This pertains to our current first responders service. We've had some discussion about discontinuing that service, and we're just looking for council action that would allow us to terminate the memorandums of understanding that we currently have in place.
I'd make that motion.
I'd second that.
Motion by Hayward, second by O'Loughlin. Any other discussion? If not, do you would,
This is what, to cancel it, or? Okay.
Yes, sir.
so roll call, please.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
yes.
Shar,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes,
Vaughn,
Yes.
Thank you, motion is carried. We are down to reports. Were there any council committee reports that we've had since last council meeting?
We did have a Public Works Committee. I can't remember if we talked about that at the last meeting, council meeting or Committee of the Whole, excuse me.
We did at the meeting of the whole.
Yeah.
And then we did have a public safety meeting. The public safety discussion centered around fire department, really the disposal of equipment. I think next week, I don't know if Dick is back there. I'd let Dick talk about that.
Yeah, we talked about the disposal of the trucks through the Public Safety Committee. We're gonna have, Thursday we'll be going out and picking up the new engine too. So that'll be back in the station on Thursday. On Monday, they're gonna come and install the radio, and at that point, then we should be able to get everything loaded and put it into service shortly thereafter, so. Then we'll have to figure out how we wanna dispose of engine 3. Some of the public safety talked about possibly seeing if there's other departments in our area or even across the state that might be interested in that truck and possibly even donating it to them, depending on what the situation was, so.
There's a lot of smaller departments that got equipment that's just really not even close to what this truck
Yeah,
would be.
Dick was saying this would be a good
I mean,
find
I'm
for
an,
him.
I'm an instructor for the state, for fire service, so I travel around the state doing training, and there are some departments out there that you would be absolutely amazed at what they can do with what they have. So,
So this would really help Mountain.
oh, there's some out there that would, yeah, this would be like getting a brand-new truck to them.
Yeah.
And the value of the truck, if we were to put it out on a classified or take bids for it, would be just a couple of $1,000s, if I
Probably, I
understand.
think that's what we got out in the last one.
At best.
So,
The one that just sold on Gov Deals last week was 1,800.
So, I mean, when we talk about making a donation to another entity, it isn't, you know, tens of thousands of dollars that we're talking about. It's a pretty nominal amount
and
for a
there is
30-year-old.
potentially stuff that they're gonna have to do to this truck to really make it safe for them as well, so.
We don't have to, I mean, if we were to sell it, we gotta post it and go through all kinds of, jump through all kinds of hoops to make sure we follow. How do we handle if we wanted to donate it? Would we just list it, something through the fire organization, or?
To another
Yes.
public entity.
Tell people everyone's looking at me.
That's why you're here.
I haven't encountered the question before, but I can figure it out in short order and get a response to Al on how would you go about doing that.
Well, no use doing that if we're just gonna give it to somebody.
Well, we want to make sure that we dispose of the equipment appropriately, and that's the only reason if we're going to make it as a donation, we'd want to make sure we're legal in how we're doing that. That would be the only question.
Yeah, there's specific statutes that cover, sorry, how you go. That cover disposition of
You ever see otherwise we get some liability.
property that's run its useful life, and I can't tell you off the top of my head exactly what it says about donations, but I'll pull up the statute and take a look and let Al know what it says and what we need to do.
I think we can get some good publicity out of it if we do donate it, somebody who really needs a fire truck.
Exactly.
We just didn't wanna donate it and get fined more than the truck was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do know the process for you can give away land to another government entity. So if you can give away valuable land, I'm positive there's a way we can do this. I just can't tell you exactly what it is.
Well, we'd also, if they're gonna give it away, say you have several that want it, we're gonna have to come up with a structure of how we do that. I mean, you say this one wanted to plant town A and town B and town C, and, you're gonna say, okay, I'm gonna give town C, cause I know somebody that lives there, or something. Do you understand what I'm saying? To make it fair, and I'm not saying you're gonna have that happen, but we need to be prepared.
You could have it happen. I mean, it's.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could happen.
It's a good
But-
point.
It'd almost be like a grant process that, okay, if you were gonna go that route, they have to get a letter and, okay, why do you need this? And,
Could have a raffle.
Yeah, pull a name out of the hat.
Drawing.
Or you could do, any of the departments within the county get first crack, and
Yeah.
then
Right.
counties that touch our county get second crack, and then open it up beyond that or something,
But just some type of.
still
stamp.
have to have some structure. If Hazelton and Brandon both wanted it, and they're both in county, you'd still have to have some kind of a tiebreaker possibly, but.
Yeah,
Yeah, I see
that's what I was thinking.
That's a good idea, though.
Well, Steve will make sure we stay legal.
And it will be donated as is.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Definitely as is.
At that time, not as it is now.
Yeah.
That's what we went last time.
Correct. Okay, anything else?
Okay,
Thank you, Dick.
thank you.
We also talked about the police department and some of the activities at the police department, some of the trainings that were going on, so. I think that's all for committee reports.
Okay. As long as we are talking about departments, did you have anything, Dustin?
just a couple different things. 2 weeks ago, Officer Cass actually flew down to Texas with Titan for some training that he got involved in. Last year through DLE, he ended up with first place in one of the judging competitions, so he actually, the plane trip down at that time, we had to cover, but for the participation and the stay there, it would have been free, but because of scheduling and issues last year, he wasn't able to go. This year, he was able to work out, so he was able to go this year. He came back, so he had a great time with it, really enjoyed it, learned quite a bit. But he's back and up and going now. Last week we went to East Buchanan, did some training over there with Officer Isley in the Alice training, like we've done with our schools here, but over there we're able to actually incorporate some students and stuff with the training we had there. So that turned out very well. We were very impressed with how things progressed through that. I know we worked with our students, or our teachers here at East, West, and the high school, so something that we keep progressing through. And the last thing I have is we've decided in the department to start looking for the future for field or training officers. It's a position in the department that they don't get any extra pay for. It's just the ability to train at start. So we went through a process with that, and Officer Lau, Officer Bose, and Officer Cass are going to be our 3 field training officers. Those are we had a few apply, but those are the 3 that came out on top for the training here. So later this month, 2 of them will be going to a field training class down in Des Moines. When they get back, I'm going to work with all 3 of them. Sorry, the last one will go the fall. The same group is going to have it again in the fall, but based on schedule, I can't send all 3 at the same time. Once 2 of them get back, we're going to start working on our training guide for all new officers. I mean, things have changed in the past, and kind of update everything and put it together. So I'm going to be working with those 3 to make sure we have everything set in stone for training for new officers. I'm expecting next 5 years we'll have a few decide to retire. So I want to make sure that we are set up and ready to go for them for when the new ones start our teams. Pretty much everything.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sis.
Mark, did you have anything? Okay. Council, who would like to start? Anybody in particular?
Well,
Carl?
I heard you guys talk earlier, but I've had quite a few concerns, and I know everybody probably has. But, and I know Tim's not here, but Al, you made pretty good discussion of it. Tell the people, kind of explain to them, we got some bad potholes, I understand, but the temperature has a lot to do with our repairs.
Yeah, so the street department is starting to do some pothole filling, some full patching. I don't want to get anybody's hopes up because this time of year it can be questionable as to how long those last if they have moisture in there. They'll do their best to dry them out and what have you, but they are out this week as long as the weather will hold for them. As long as it's not raining, if it starts raining, that makes it pretty tough. We do know that there are holes out there, and they're working diligently. If you travel to any other communities around the state in particular, we're in pretty good shape. But that doesn't mean we don't have some work to do.
No, and I was telling this one gentleman, and I've talked to some other council, but in years past, we patched, and it's a temporary thing. If we get that freeze back, it'll pop it up out of there.
That's correct. You get, they can try and dry it out. They can only get it so dry this time of year. And if we get that freeze-thaw cycle, it will pop them back out again. So they're going to try and fill the worst of them. They're working at it. They're doing the best they can, but bear with them. Come summer, we'll have to go and do some of them again.
Okay, thank you. And the other thing I had was, and we were off camera when it was asked, but Gina answered, well, one of you guys did. They were asking about when we do amendments for our fiscal now, and we set the date was April 22nd, am I correct?
Yes, with the changes that we've had in the budget process, making sure that we honor the time schedule that we are required by the state for our budget approval, we put our effort into that. The budget amendment itself, we'll start that at the next council meeting to start the process, but that is still coming. We just felt like we were better off focusing on, the priority of the time schedule for the budget itself.
Well, and sometimes when you overlap it too quickly, it's confusing.
That's correct. And we do have a budget amendment coming. You know, we've been planning for it, so it's gotten away. It's just a matter of scheduling.
Thank you.
We do technically have, I think 6 or 8 weeks yet before we absolutely have to have it done. I don't know that we're gonna wait till the last minute, but,
I think Gina commented it was May 31st. I knew it was in May, March, but there's two M's. But anyway, but, thank you.
yes.
That's all I have.
Mike, you have anything?
Nothing for me.
Deb?
Nothing.
Danny?
Not very much.
John, do you have anything?
I don't, thank you.
Okay,
I
Mike?
didn't get a
I'm
report on
good.
Mexico.
No.
I have
Bob?
nothing.
Okay, Gina, did you have anything you wanted to share?
No, I don't think so.
Al?
I think I've said my piece.
Okay. I made copies of a letter I got from the Iowa DOT, sent in both directions, so you just have it. This is in regard to the letter we'd had about them doing Highway 20, I believe, and so it's just kind of a follow-up that they're doing looks like their project letting is March 19th. So, but they're still planning on doing it in the construction during 2019. So that's just for your information. Other than that, I don't have anything else. And I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Scharf,
I'll
second by Vaughn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.